realised pretty early on that there are some really defining moments in parenting, some real forks in the road where you have to make a big choice about which path you're going to take. And these moments just creep up on you, of course. You don't see them coming. Now, I was remembering one of those forks in the road last night when my eldest son, Jeremy, was round at our house for dinner. He's recently moved out in the last few months, so it was lovely to see him. And in conversation, we ended up talking about his third birthday. And this day was one of those forks in the road. And I'll tell you a little story about it. His birthday is on the 1st of January. So there's always fireworks the night before, which is lovely for him. But he hadn't seen a lot of the fireworks. He hadn't really been into it much, obviously before he was 3. But when he was 3, we had the opportunity to go and watch the fireworks in Sydney in a flat that overlooked the Harbour Bridge and had this absolutely amazing view of the fireworks. So we were staying there overnight, and we invited his best friend and his best friend's parents to come and join us for the evening and for the day afterwards for his birthday party. So we watched these incredible fireworks and we had a really close-up view, which was wonderful, except it was incredibly loud. And he freaked out at all the noise because he was really, really sensitive to loud noise, as a lot of children are. So there was a fair bit of screaming, but it was quite an amazing, if rather dramatic, evening. Anyway, the next day we had his birthday party, and I'd prepared this beautiful homemade cake. A lovely sort of lemon cake. He'd chosen the type of cake he wanted. He knew I'd prepared it at home and brought it to the flat so that we could have this birthday party with his friend and our families. So we had the cake and we had the candles and we were all standing around and we sang happy birthday, and it was, one of those really, really lovely moments. And then I went to serve the cake, and he emphatically declared that the cake was his and nobody else could have any cake. He wanted the whole thing for himself. Now, I knew I had a really spirited child, but this was one of those moments where I thought, oh goodness, this is off the scale of spirit, and I don't know what I'm going to do in this situation. He was absolutely determined, absolutely clear that he didn't want anybody else to have a single piece of his birthday cake, not even his best friend who was there. Now, I had my own reaction to this situation. I was so uncomfortable. I was really embarrassed. It was just the most awkward situation I can imagine. And it was one of those forks in the road. Was I going to choose to respect his wishes on his birthday and let him have the whole cake to himself? Or was I going to somehow try and force the issue, force him to share, lecture him, make some big deal of it, based on the fact that I was feeling really, really uncomfortable and embarrassed? Well, in that instance, at that moment, I chose to respect his wishes, and he had the whole cake and nobody else got any cake. And yes, we survived the situation. We remained friends. He kept his friendship with his best friend, and it was all fine. But I realized in that moment that this parenting path was going to be way more challenging than I thought, and this child was way more spirited than I thought. And I realized I really didn't have the skills to deal with this situation. I didn't have any sort of guidance about how I was going to navigate this constantly changing, sort of evolving situation with this really spirited child, and with my own reactions and my own concerns and fears about what other people would think and how they were going to react. And it was a big sort of confusing emotional drama going on in my head. Anyway, I needed some more skills. I needed to be able to deal with this emotional roller coaster in a peaceful way. And I really wanted to be a respectful parent, so I had to learn some new skills. And I did learn those skills over many years. And there were many more forks in the road where I had to make this choice between a peaceful, respectful parenting path and forcing things or being somehow authoritarian in the mold that I was brought up in, completely innocently by my own parents. So I ended up writing a book, and I ended up teaching a parenting course that includes all the things that I learned about how to deal with my own reactions, how to solve problems with a really spirited, determined child, and how to live peacefully and joyfully in this new environment where the old conditioning, the old ways of doing things, the old stories you got from your childhood just aren't relevant, and you don't want to keep them. So in the comments, in the link in this post, I'll put a link to my Joyful Parenting course and my Joyful Parenting book. And I hope this can give you some really practical guidance about how to navigate this exciting journey with your spirited, determined child. Thank you.